Okay, and I think it's working. I
Yeah,
think we're live. Yay!
I think
Okay,
so.
welcome everyone. Yeah, I think so too. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on our third or fourth live show for the Tea Leaves Book Club. I can't remember. Anyhow, yeah, thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to be discussing the Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner. I am very excited to discuss this book with all of you because we all have very different experiences reading Jane Austen. So I think it should be interesting. We will start with a full spoiler-free section, so you do not need to worry if you haven't read the book. And then I will warn you in time once we get into spoilers. But first of all, girls, would you like to introduce yourselves? Maybe say your name and your channel name. Feel free to do so.
I don't know who needs to go. Okay, I can do it. I'm
First.
always awkward. Hi, I'm Sarah from Sarah Did You Know?
I can go next. I'm Sophia from Sophia Reads.
Perfect.
And I'm
Oh no, Hillary's
technical
fine.
with me. I'm anything back.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, this always happens with one of us. It's okay. Well, I'm Mary from Mary Among Stories. You're watching this on my channel, so that should be obvious, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, we're going to give a brief synopsis of the book. So Sarah, be my guest since you chose the book. Would you like to introduce it?
I will do that. Okay.
Okay.
So, the Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner is basically a historical fiction novel in which we follow 8 different characters who most of them live into the village of Chawton in England, which is the place where Jane Austen wrote some of her novels. And basically at the beginning of the book, we follow them as they slowly come together to try and protect her legacy into the village because it's slowly disappearing and they all love Jane Austen very, very much and they don't want it to disappear. So, yeah, that's pretty much like the premise of the story, if you will. So,
yeah, the overall idea. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I thought before we go into the spoiler-free thoughts and our ratings and everything, I thought we could discuss some of the trigger warnings. I found a few, but if you'd like to add any of them, I might have missed some, so feel free to add anything. But I wrote down sexual harassment and sexual assault, the mention of war and grief and loss of loved ones and trauma. There's a mention of a suicide, a miscarriage, and I think that's it. But would you guys like to add anything? I don't know.
There's also drug addiction.
Yeah, true.
And I think with what you said, I think we got it covered, I want to say.
Yeah. Well, if anyone remembers anything else, just feel free to say it because I might have missed something. Okay. And I think with that said, we can start talking about the book completely spoiler-free. Would any of you like to start, or shall I go first? I don't know. What do you prefer?
Well, I don't know what to think of the book, so I want to hear your opinion.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Oh my god. I know.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, okay, I can go first, but now I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Okay. The first thing I want to say is I was very excited with this choice. Like when Sarah mentioned this book, I had never even heard of it, but I was very excited because it is set in a small village and it's obviously centered around Jane Austen, whom I love very, very much. But I must confess that at first I thought it could be, I wouldn't say boring, but I don't know if it would be enjoyable to anyone who hasn't read Jane Austen. So I was a bit hesitant going into it. For me, it ended up being a very fun reading experience. I was just telling Hillary that I listened to the audiobook while reading the physical copy at the same time. And overall, I really liked it. I'm still not sure about my rating, but I'm leaning towards maybe a 3.5. maybe a 4 stars. I'm still not sure. I think this live show will help me gather my thoughts properly. But overall, I really liked it. I loved the way this author introduced the characters because I started feeling for them immediately. I think each one of them had very specific qualities to them, and I loved that. I love knowing more about their backgrounds, even though I do wish we knew more about a few of the characters. We'll get more into that. But for instance, Frances, to me, had the potential to be a very interesting character, but I feel like we never knew a lot about her, which is a shame. And then the other thing that I had very, very mixed feelings about is the ending. Because I don't know, I think it felt very rushed and abrupt, and a few things didn't end up exactly the way I expected them to, but we'll get more into that. Anyhow, overall, I really liked it, so we'll see. I really want to know how you felt about it. So who'd like to go next?
I will go.
I can
Okay,
go. We all will.
go for it.
Who wants to go?
You go ahead, Hillary.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're still in the spoiler-free version, right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I with Mary, I think it was quite an enjoyable read,
Mm-hmm.
and the characters were all to me, and I also were under or just not as detailed as one, like a character with the drive book, and I really liked them, but I think that offered a contrast with the rest. So overall, it was like a 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think I
agree.
got most of it, but
Yeah.
you were,
And I agree.
I'm sorry. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Sarah?
Yeah. Well, okay. I can. All right.
Oh God.
So basically, overall, I think I would give the book 3 stars. I really enjoyed it, but one of the things that I was a little bit not such a big fan of is kind of similar to your point, Mary. I felt like some of the characters were not as developed as others.
Mhm.
Basically, I would have loved if this book had like 200 pages more. Like, I
Mhm.
just wanted more. I wanted more backstory. I wanted the plot to not go as fast as it did. I feel like
Mhm.
some things developed like super, super fast.
Yeah.
And I was kind of bummed about that because I really thought that if it had been like more slow paced, or if we had more time to go with all of the characters, then it would have been so much more deeper. We could have gone so much more in depth. Also, I feel
Mhm.
like sometimes, and maybe we'll talk about that more in the spoilery section, I feel like sometimes, for example, two characters were talking with one another, and we didn't really have that history of their relationship. I feel like we didn't have enough, and so sometimes they were talking with one another, and I was just like, what are they talking about? Like, there were even like some parts where I was just like, hold on. And maybe that's just because like I wasn't focused enough in certain chapters, but I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes they seem to have like a connection of certain sort, and I didn't really see that. Like, it didn't
Mm.
really reflect in the rest of their relationships.
Yeah.
And then also a lot of the heritage stuff completely confused me. I
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
not, like, I was just incapable of focusing on that. I didn't understand what was going on. And I feel like maybe it's just because I know absolutely nothing about that kind of stuff, but I feel like it wasn't, I would have preferred if it was explained more, like in a more simple way, because I just felt completely confused, and so I would just glaze over and be like, well, I don't know what's going on anymore, but it's fine. So
Yeah.
yeah, so but that didn't happen very often. It was more towards the end, I feel, as things got
Mhm.
even more messy, and I was just like, I don't understand what the stakes are right now, because I was just very confused about all of the legal stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing that was a little bit disappointing. But overall, I really, really love the characters. I just wish that we had more time with them. Oh no, we lost Hillary.
Oh no. Yeah. She'll come back. Yeah.
Um, And yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like I wanted more depth is basically what I mean to say. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I still really enjoyed it, and I still thought it was fun. And every single time they would mention like a character from a Jane Austen book or like certain events that happened, I was just like, oh my god, because I knew about it.
Yeah, I know.
So it was so much fun for that part too.
Yeah.
What about you, Sophia?
So I really liked it. I ended up giving it like somewhere between like a 4 and a 4.5 stars.
Oh my god,
Um,
yay.
there were
Yeah.
just like so many like cute, like I don't know, like memorable moments between the different characters and like so many romances that I got really behind.
Yeah.
I feel like I probably missed a lot because I haven't ever read a Jane Austen book, so I probably missed a lot of the references. Like the only Jane Austen I've ever like experienced was like I think I watched the new Emma and that was it. So
Okay.
I think I missed a lot of that, but I don't know. I really like I thought it was fun and I was like invested in all of the different storylines. So like when we flipped to another one, I wasn't like dreading like, oh my god, we have to like read about this super boring romance. Like I was invested in all of them. So I ended up really enjoying it. I think I didn't give it a 5 stars just because I also was like really bored by the legal stuff. Like I did not care.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
I couldn't give it a 5 star when I like was glossing over those parts, but it was really cute. I really liked it.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
all the things you're mentioning, like the legal stuff and everything about the heritage, I also thought it was a bit confusing because it was never really talked about until the ending, and then everything happened at once, so it could get a bit confusing. I agree about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like
Mhm.
from the second half, like around the middle, and then for the rest of the ending, there was a lot of like legal stuff. And I feel like
Mhm.
once again, if we would have that like sprinkled around more character development and everything, I would have
Mhm.
loved it more. Like just
Mhm.
like 200 pages more, please, just so
Yeah.
we get more
I
like
agree.
drama and yearning, and also some of that legal stuff or whatever,
Yeah.
if you insist. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I agree. And I'm glad. I thought it would be the main focus of the book, but it ended up not being, not really. So that's
You mean
good, at
like,
least.
okay,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
whole heritage subplot, I think. Like, at least
Uh-huh.
for me, that wasn't the main focus. Not really.
Yeah. I feel like it wasn't the main focus, but then at the end it became kind of like very intense. In my
Yeah.
opinion.
Mhm.
But for the most part, you're right. Like if it was definitely about the characters, which I really, really liked, and all of their
Mhm.
relationships.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that
Mhm.
I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
But then yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, it was one part of it, so at least it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Mhm.
Okay, Hillary is gonna try to come back.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties, but everything should be fine. Okay. Yeah. Well, if anyone wants to add something else that is completely spoiler free, speak now.
Oh my god, we have
Um,
people! Oh my god, hello
yay!
everybody!
Hello,
Please let
everyone.
us
Can you
know if
hear
you
me?
have.
We
Yes!
can
Oh
hear
my
you.
god,
Hi.
hi! The quality is so much better. Hi!
Yay.
You're
You're good.
back!
Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. It happens to all of us. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But you're
Yeah.
so clear now. Everything looks fine, so you should be
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. You're
Okay.
good now. Hmm.
Okay.
Yes, it's
Good.
so much better than it was.
Okay, good. Good.
Oh
That's a
my
good
god.
sign.
I mean,
Yay.
whatever you missed, I think it was just us complaining about all of the legal stuff at the end. Because we were really confused. But I think
Yeah.
that's pretty
Gosh.
much all that you
Hmm.
missed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy that part of the book. It was very dry, I thought. Just
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
the legality stuff and mentioning all of the ways that the estate was spinned off. I was just like, better.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
were just all very, very confused about that. I don't know if like anyone watching us has a different opinion about this, but I think that
Yeah.
in general we were all just not big fans.
Hmm. Yeah, but I think also it's a bit linked to what you said earlier, Sarah. Like if maybe if the book had been bigger, I don't know. And again, what I was saying earlier about Frances, I don't think we knew enough about her to
Yes.
really get that whole point of the story, you know? So I
Even
think
like also like the other one, what's his name? I think it's Andrew, like
Andrew,
the
yeah.
lawyer. We
Yeah, I
didn't
agree.
get like a lot of him. Same thing with the other one. What's
Yardley.
his name? Yes. This one. We didn't get enough of him, and I loved him. I was just like, but
Yeah,
why?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was sad. I don't know if I would have preferred if she had like removed some of them, like have less main characters, or if she would have just given it more time. But I feel like it's really like the book needed to be longer, in my opinion,
hmm,
because all of
yeah,
those characters were super interesting. So I wouldn't want like one of them to just not be there.
yeah, I
Um,
agree. Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, but should we move into spoilers?
Yeah, if I mean, I'm ready to talk about spoilers. So if
Yes, unless
anyone,
there's like anything else
yeah,
we want to talk
unless
about.
there's any comment or any question anyone would like to ask or anything, I think we are ready to go into spoilers. So right now, if you haven't read the book, maybe click away if you do not want to be spoiled. But yeah, so this is your official warning. Okay, yeah. So I think we can start and discuss some more juicy things, I guess. Because, yeah, like I was saying, I really enjoyed the book overall, but like that ending, to me, it was just very messy because, you know, Frances had just lost everything, supposedly. And then suddenly Andrew is like, but that's fine, you can marry me and we can be, you know, like, we can live happily ever after and everything is fine. But like she had just lost everything, so it was all just so sudden. I don't know if you agree, but that part of the book, like I was happy for them. I wanted them to be together. I just think the whole way that we got there was very sudden and very,
Yeah.
yeah, very messy, I think.
I feel like the ending was weirdly executed.
Yeah.
Like I want to say, like I was very happy about Dr. Gray and Adeline because they
Oh my
were my
God,
shit.
yes.
I was,
Yes.
Yeah, I love them.
I was rooting for them. Okay,
Me
I love
too.
them so much. So that part, I was just like,
Me
thank
too.
you,
Yeah.
perfect, great, thank you very much. But I agree that like the whole wedding catastrophe and then them just being like, let's do another one, like it's fine, marry me, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, what is going on? That was a little
Yeah.
bit too much. I feel like
Yeah.
that was intense.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was sweet, but at the same time, just a bit messy, I think.
Yeah, Jane Austen wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
But yeah, I did love Dr. Gray. He reminded me a little bit of Mr. Darcy, just a little bit.
yeah,
And
he was kind of like a mix of Mr. Knightley and Mr. Darcy, honestly, because he was
yeah,
just so clueless the entire, well, not clueless, but like he was just so kind of reserved and trying to like he was just trying too hard to be good, and I was just like, no, like do it, get the
oh my
girl.
God.
But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I
It
loved
was
him.
great. Who was
Yeah.
your favorite character? Who was like your all-time favorite?
I have three favorite characters actually.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we have Dr. Gray, Adam. I loved Adam. And I
I
swear
loved
I
Adam.
anytime he showed up, I began getting so emotional. I cannot really explain this, but I felt so connected to him.
Yes.
Ever
I
since the
loved
first
him.
page. Yeah, I loved him so much. He was so sweet. Like you could really tell he was such a nice guy, like a very simple man, you know. I don't know. I really liked him.
He was definitely like a soft cinnamon roll, I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah. And then he loved Pride and Prejudice, so I was like,
I
yes.
know. Such a big fan of Elizabeth. Oh, he
I
was so
know.
cute.
So sweet. Yeah.
And then who's the third one?
My third one is Evie, actually.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I know she's not one of the main characters per se, but like
Mm-hmm.
the way she fell completely in love with books and that whole chapter with her in the library trying to catalog everything and fangirling about Jane Austen's handwriting and everything, I thought I swear that scene was so beautiful, and I could picture myself doing the same thing and just feeling so happy and emotional inside. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes, and I loved her. Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved her too. And Hillary, I like whenever she was mentioned, I would think of you because like you're a
Oh,
librarian,
Oh,
right?
that's very cute. That's very
And
cute. Yeah.
she just reminded me of you because she was just like, I need to catalog everything. And it was just so cute.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that she reminded me of myself, but she definitely had like librarian tendencies for sure, for sure. I love
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
that.
why. She was
Yeah.
great.
I love
Who was
that.
your favorite, Hillary?
Yeah, I want to know your favorite characters.
Adeline, she's
Yes.
I loved her.
Yeah.
I think it was the first where she was like strong school team and she was teaching feminist literature to her students.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
love
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that
And
scene
she's
when he walks in, when like Dr. Gray walks in and on the board it's written like
Yes.
marriage to escape like poverty or something. I was
right.
like,
Love it.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
good.
Yes.
yep, she was great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like other favorites?
I agree with Adam being this really sweet kind of soul that is just so kind and such a positive
Yes.
presence. I really liked him too.
Yeah. I
When
loved
he
him.
brought that kidden, I was just like,
I know. It
Yeah.
was so
I know.
cute.
I was
Yeah.
gone. I was
Yeah.
like, too much cuteness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you,
So sweet.
Sophia?
I think Dr. Gray was my favorite. I just like he was like so lonely and like I felt so
I
bad for
know.
him and like he was
No.
grieving and I was just like I want you to find your happily ever after and like I just want it to
Yeah.
happen for you and like I just felt for him like I didn't like I don't know I felt for a lot of the characters in the book but every time like he was going through a tough time I just got like really emotional so I loved
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And then I
Same.
also liked Evie a lot. My mom is a librarian, so I don't know.
Oh.
I kind of like related. She like loves books and she loves like looking at old books and stuff like that. So I really related to that. But I don't know. There were so many good characters in this book.
Yeah, I
I feel like
agree.
they all
Mhm.
had their like special moments.
Yeah, I
Yes,
agree.
definitely. I feel like my two favorites were definitely like Adeline and Dr. Gray, which I feel like if you know me, you can see that coming from like 2,000 miles away because I just it's just the kind of characters that I just love so much.
Yeah.
These two, and then I really loved Adam too, and also Evie. Like I just love all of them, but I felt like some of them I couldn't really connect to just because they
Mhm.
weren't
Yeah.
as developed, like as we talked about. But also one that really surprised me is Mimi. By the way,
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
um, I just I didn't really like her name, but other than that, she was honestly, she was
Oh
great.
my God.
Like at first, I was just like, I'm not too sure about her. Like I like her, but and then by the end, I was like, okay, she's great. Like I love
Yeah.
her. She's not like my favorite, but she really surprised me. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Also, her
Mhm.
fiance, trash.
Yeah.
Sucked. I
But
hated
that, yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, it's very funny to me because if you've read like a lot of Jane Austen, also you can kind of spot like the Jane Austen archetypes because like he's the bad guy, like the just trash man, and it's just
Yeah.
so funny. And then another one that I thought about, oh yeah, like all of the very gossipy ladies is just like
Mm.
it's very typical of like a Jane Austen book too, and I think it's just so
Yeah.
funny because like they're the kind of side characters that are just so annoying, but also they make you laugh because of how ridiculous they are. And I think that was great. That was like a good wink wink to Jane Austen. I feel like that was
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was going to say, actually. I could find a lot of parallels between Jane Austen's novels and these characters and like the
yeah
overall circumstances. Even the first sentence, like the opening line, the author chose a quote by E.M. Forster to introduce the book, which I thought
yes
was very interesting because I
uh-huh
think it sums up the book perfectly.
Mhm.
It says, "Who shall inherit England? The business people who run her, or the people who understand her?" And I feel like that's a very common theme in Jane Austen's novels
yes
overall. Yeah. And so something I really wanted to ask you, because Sarah, I know you've read all of her novels.
Yes.
And
Sophia, you're
yeah.
back. Okay.
And I still need to read Emma and Mansfield Park, but I have read most of her books. So I wanted to know, for Sophia and Hilary, did you feel like you needed to have read her novels to enjoy the book, or was it okay with you?
I mean,
I would.
I didn't. Sorry, go ahead, Hillary.
No. You go.
Okay. I didn't really feel like I feel like I was able to enjoy it on like a baseline level, but I also like had this like nagging feeling like, oh, I'm missing stuff. So I think like my enjoyment could have been better, but it wasn't like I was reading it and I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on right now because like I haven't read her books. So I was kind of like, I don't know. I feel like if I do read all of Jane Austen's books, I might reread this after and like see like if I have a totally different opinion. But I feel like it was still enjoyable even if you like haven't read her stuff.
Yeah.
I agree. It felt like there were things that I was missing or wasn't totally grasping, but I could still, as Sophia said, have a baseline enjoyment of it. But yeah, there was that nagging feeling like I know there's an extra layer here that I just don't have reference to. So,
yeah, I'm asking you because I felt the same a little bit with Emma, because it is referenced a lot and I still need to read that one. I am a little familiar with the story, but I haven't read the book nor watched the movie, so there were a few scenes where I felt a bit lost, but I still enjoyed reading them because there was always something that you could take from them, because I don't know, I found their discussions so interesting. They always had a new point of view about each one of her books and each one of her characters. I loved reading about those. I'm not sure how you felt, but I loved those scenes. They were some of my favorites because I thought they were fascinating. Maybe I'm just a big nerd, but I I loved those scenes.
That's why we love you.
Why, thank you.
I think that like I really, really liked, like, having read all of her books, I really, really liked when they were talking like about the characters and how they felt about the different Jane Austen characters. That I really, really enjoyed, because I was just like, wow, this is basically just me and my friends at work. Like, we're always like, we have a couple of people at work, we all have read Jane Austen and we talk about like our favorite characters and everything. So it was very funny. But also I feel like I kind of understand your feeling that you were just like, I'm missing something. But at the same time, if it intrigued you, then you might want to read the books, So I understand that like it can be a little bit annoying, because I remember I read another book that mentioned Jane Austen a lot before I had read all of her books, and I remember that like sometimes I was just like, oh yeah, well, I wish I had read that one so I could understand exactly what they mean. But I totally understand, but I feel like you could still enjoy it, like you said, like for the story and for the actual characters of the book, even if you haven't read Jane Austen.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
and like there's texture about so that the pieces, because like the thing about Darcy with Bennett and like Mr. Knightley, I don't know any of those characters, but the way that they were brought up in the book, like I could understand what the author was doing.
Okay, yeah, you could, it could still make sense even if you didn't know, because of the context also, which I think that was well done too. Yeah, definitely.
I think so too, because they made interesting comparisons between themselves and Jane Austen's characters. So yeah, I feel like even if you haven't read the books, you can kind of understand what they're talking about based on these characters' personalities, and that was very interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And did you have like a favorite part, like a favorite scene? Any of you?
I mean, my scenes, we've already talked about a few. The scene with the kitten, I thought was so sweet. I swear, I almost started crying because it was so cute and so simple, but it was very sweet. And then the entire chapter with Evie in the library, I absolutely loved that. And then for some reason, when we got introduced to Adam, like I think it was in the first 10 pages or so, because he's the first character. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but the way Natalie Jenner described Adam made me feel for him immensely right away, and I loved him since the first page. So I don't know, just getting to know him overall was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
It really touched me. Yeah, because he has a very sad background, but at the same time, he always tries to be the best version of himself that he can be. And then when he starts reading Pride and Prejudice, he is a bit hesitant. But then there's these few lines where he says, "I'm getting concerned about Mr. Darcy," and I think
Yes! That
think
part was
that's
so funny
hilarious.
to me.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious and very relatable and sweet. So yeah, those were my favorite parts. What about all of you?
Do you have a favorite scene, Sophia? Hello?
I I like can't hear Sarah for some like strange
Oh,
reason. Like I can
no!
see
Oh,
you
no.
talking, but I like can't hear you, and I don't know why.
Do you
It's
hear
okay.
me?
No, that's fine.
Oh no!
Okay.
Do you
But
hear
I
me
can like
now?
hear everyone else. It's so weird. Anyways,
wow,
Really?
that-
I guess I can go first.
Okay.
Isn't that
Okay.
weird? Like, but I can
Can
hear
the
everyone else
people
perfectly.
watching hear me? Like,
My favorite parts, like, sorry, am I like interrupting you?
No, it's
I can't
okay.
hear
Go for
you.
it.
Okay.
No.
I feel like I don't know, like there were like I really liked the Evie scene. I definitely liked that a lot. I really liked the like scene when Dr. Gray and Adeline like finally got together and they like realized they like needed to get over their like ridiculous like thoughts, and they like just like did it, and I was like, okay, finally, like we've been waiting for this moment. Like I loved that.
Yeah.
I don't know, there were so many good parts. I don't know if I have like a favorite part, but there were like so many good ones.
Yeah.
yeah. What about you, Hillary?
I really liked the very end, and I know that this was kind of too much of a happy ending in some sense, but like where your
Oh, we're losing her.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh no! Hillary, come back!
No.
oh shoot.
Oh, okay, I
Oh
think
wait,
you're
we
back
can hear you
now.
now.
Try again, try
Okay.
again.
I liked the S part with Yardley and Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
love that. Yeah,
It was very sweet.
it was.
Yeah.
Also,
Mhm.
the fact that they got a dog, really,
I know. I love
really,
that.
yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
I think
New.
my favorite scene was probably like from I think the second chapter. I don't know like where it is, but like when at the beginning where when Dr. Gray and Adeline are talking in the garden and then it starts to rain or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it's like after the war. And yeah,
I think so.
they're talking about Emma and about Elizabeth, like Emma from Emma the
Emma.
novel. Yeah,
Yeah.
Emma. And yeah, they're talking about that, and I really, really love that. And they're talking about like how Jane Austen books are like very soothing and all of that.
Mhm.
And I found that like super relatable, so I really, really love that part.
Yeah, I agree. I remember that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good scene.
I could see myself having that discussion with
Yeah,
other
me too.
people. Yeah. It was
Yeah, I
very
love
fun. Yeah. Well, on the other hand, I'm also curious about what would you have changed about the book? Like, what was your least favorite aspect of this book overall?
Yeah.
hmm
Do you want me
Would you
to
like to
start?
start, Sarah? Yeah,
Yeah, I can do
sure.
that. Okay, sure. Well, definitely, like I've said, the length of the book, like I wanted 200 more pages to just like get to go deeper with those characters and those different relationships.
Mhm.
And then also like when I was talking about like the history of the characters, that I felt like sometimes it wasn't like I don't know, it felt weird because sometimes I felt like I didn't know them enough basically. And so they were interacting with one another, and sometimes I was just like, where is this coming from? Like, what is going on? And I don't know if it's because of the writing or because of the way that it was, like, that the story was progressing or whatever, but sometimes I was just kind of confused about why certain characters were acting the way that they were. Like, there was a part of the book where Dr. Gray and Adeline, sometimes they were angry at each other, and I was just like, why are you angry at each other? Like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, I couldn't really pinpoint the conflict that was going on between them for whatever reason. And I don't know if that's just me or I just
yeah, I get your point. I had my own interpretation as to why that was happening, but I could be wrong. For me, those conflicts for me were just a reflection of their grief. And so they knew they loved each other, but it's like they felt guilty for that because each one of them had another loved one in their life in the past, who's now gone, unfortunately, which is very sad. And so it's almost like they feel guilty for feeling happy again with someone else. And because of that, there was a lot of miscommunication and everything. So that was my interpretation. But I can see your point. Like, it was a bit confusing sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree about that, though. Like, I definitely think that they were both trying to, like, not give themselves the happiness that they wanted, because they felt guilty. And also, there's a point where, like, Dr. Gray feels very guilty, obviously, because of Adeline's baby. So he's scared that she's angry at him or that she blames him because he blames himself and stuff like that. So that was also very heartbreaking, by the way. It was just like,
it was very sad.
Yeah, it was very sad.
It was very sad.
Sophia, by the way, can you hear me now?
I mean, I can.
Okay. But yeah, so that's one thing that I would change. I think just mainly like the character development, I feel sometimes was a little bit lacking just because we didn't have enough time, like I said. So yeah,
I agree, because I liked all of the characters, so I wish they were all developed like equally. Because obviously we would always have the protagonist, so we always focus a lot more on one or two of them. But even so, like, for me, the biggest example is Frances, because she wasn't the protagonist, but she was a big part of the story. She was one of the main reasons why they decided to create the society in the first place. And so I do wish we knew a bit more about her, because I think there was a lot there that could have been explored a lot more. So that's what I would have changed, at least one of the things. And the other thing for me was, well, I know this isn't the main focus of the book, but like when Mimi was sexually assaulted, it was never mentioned again. And
that wasn't very necessary.
And it
happened.
And it's, I don't know, it felt like it didn't have any consequences on her. Like, she was fine the next minute. And I don't think that's realistic. I think it could have been handled with more care, maybe. Maybe that's just a detail, but since it happened, maybe we should talk a little bit more about that. But
yeah, I agree. I feel like it just, like, I don't know what it brought to the story as well. Like, why
exactly
that? Oh, Sophia's gone. It's really a struggle. Oh my god, we're back to the Regency era. That's why.
It happens.
But yeah, it was just, I don't really understand why. Like, I hate sexual assault or whatever, that those kind of thing as a plot point, like, just to make the plot. Like, I think it's not. I think it's dumb, but I feel like if you're going to include it, at least you have to discuss it a little bit more. I feel like it just happened and then we never talked about it again. So it was kind of weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, if you're not going to then work through it with your character, why do you just make it happen? Like, I don't feel like it was necessary to have it there. So
yeah, exactly. It felt very unnecessary, very out of nowhere.
Yeah. Oh, Sophia.
Hey, I can hear you now. Yay!
Oh my god, that must have been so boring for you.
I was just like, what is she saying? I was trying to figure it out based on what other people were saying, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
leave and come back in.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're
Oh.
talking about a few things we would have changed about the book. So now I
Okay.
want to ask you: is there
Yeah.
anything? Yeah, is there anything you'd like to be different about this book? I don't know.
I think, like, as we were saying earlier, like, some of the legal stuff I didn't understand. So, like, if we were going to commit to that being an important part of the plot, like, commit to it and, like, make it make sense. Because I felt like at the end, I was just like, okay, I'm just reading these pages and I don't know. I didn't feel like I got a lot out of it. The other
Yeah.
thing, which is, like, weird, and I don't know if this
Yeah.
is just a me thing, like, maybe I listened to the audiobook, so I might have, like, missed something.
Me
But
too.
I always thought that Adam and, like, the movie star, what's her name? Evie? No,
Mimi?
not Evie.
Mimi?
Evie's the librarian. Mimi. We're gonna
Yeah.
get together or, like, have something.
Really? Oh my god.
Was that just me?
Ah.
Oh,
Because, like, that was
interesting.
the first person she met in the village, and she was
Yeah, that's
like that
true.
very first scene. She was talking about, like, Jane Austen. He's like, "Ew, Jane Austen, like, gross." And then like, that's where the whole thing started. So then she, like, moved back, and I was like, I feel like something's gonna happen. And then, like, nothing ever happened, and they were just, like, friends. And I was like, okay, I guess that's fine. But I don't know. I felt like there was, like, unresolved. I don't know.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I never thought about it that way. But that's
No,
I might
me
have, like,
neither.
totally missed something. But
Or maybe I feel like maybe I thought about it like once or twice. I was like, oh, is it gonna be romance there? But then
yeah,
at some point I was just like, I don't think that they're really made for
they
one
weren't
another.
meant to, because they're so different. Like, they're so
Yeah.
different. But, like,
Yeah.
she was the person, or he was the person that, like, introduced her to everything. So I, like, expected,
Mhm.
if not, like, romance, like, more of, like, a like
Mhm. More of a
friendship or, like,
bond.
something with them.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was a little weird, but
Mhm.
maybe that was just me.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. What about you, Hillary?
I agree that some of the legal, like, estate dividing stuff should have been, like, simplified or kept out.
hmm
And one this the chat each chapter thing like that just kind of very and confusing.
Hmm.
I didn't
don't
hear
know.
what you said. I'm sorry.
The month and the year, how each chapter started by just clarifying, oh, it's
Oh,
August 1942. And I'm
yeah.
like, that didn't really add anything for me, and it was confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I understand what you mean. I feel like it just started and we didn't get any of, like, sometimes a little bit more context would have been good, maybe.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's funny because I also thought about that. Like, I know this is set up after the Second World War,
Yeah.
but I feel like it wasn't exactly relevant, other than obviously a few people lost loved ones during the war, and of course that's important to discuss and talk about. But that could have happened at any other time. So I feel
That's
like
true.
the setting wasn't exactly relevant to the story.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it didn't bother me exactly.
Yeah.
It's just something I thought about. Yeah, like, okay, this
Uh-huh.
could have happened in another time of the year, I guess. I don't
Like,
know.
it's not really a bad thing that it
Yeah,
happened,
I
like,
mean,
after the war, and yeah, it just wasn't okay.
it was there.
Yeah, it happened.
Yeah, it was there.
Also, was I the only one annoyed about the fact that we never got the content of the letter that Jane Austen left in the
Yeah,
library?
I was
Like,
like, what? I was
why?
expecting that to come out. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
every single time they would bring it up, I was just like, okay, so what does it say? What is it about? Can we know? Like, it just stayed a mystery, and I don't understand why. Because, like, sometimes people do that in novels, but I don't feel like it was necessary in this one to just keep it a mystery. I'm really confused.
I'm not sure how to answer that actually, because I I get your point, but I would rather it be a mystery than have something completely made up and sound completely fake, you know? So
Yeah, you're right.
on the one hand, I was curious, but then on the other, I think it is better than to just, you know, invent something and then it doesn't make sense. So
Good point.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just weird.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
I'm just wondering why she put it in there, just to, like, because it brought, like, it was valuable, so they were just like, oh my god, we can sell that, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Which I also didn't really understand. Like, they were selling the books instead of keeping them in the museum.
I didn't
Yeah,
get that either.
Yeah.
that
I
whole
was,
part, that whole part was very messy, and I was like, what
yes,
what exactly are your intentions? Like, do you want to keep this at the museum? Do you want to sell everything? I don't.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like that part of the story was definitely not clear enough. The whole, like, heritage and also
Mm.
the whole, like, museum thing, I
Yeah.
don't think was clear enough, like, not nearly. So yeah, that was just weird. I was
Yeah.
confused. Like, sure, sell Shakespeare, you're gonna get like £10,000 out of that, but keep the, like, original manuscripts. Like, what? I was just,
Yeah. I
I
would keep those. I would absolutely keep those. If I had one, I would be so happy.
I would defend it
Honestly,
with my life.
truly. Yeah. And another thing, I don't know, I felt a bit sad that we didn't have more reunions of the Jane Austen Society. Like, they ended up not happening that often. I don't know if you
Yeah.
felt the
Yeah,
same, but
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
there were
I
very
agree.
few of them. Yeah.
Uh-huh,
Hmm.
definitely.
Mm.
But I wanted
What
to
was
say
I
something, but then I forgot. Oh yeah, I love that at the end there were like 40 members of the Jane Austen Society now.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that's what I
know.
really loved. I was
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that was
oh,
cute. Yeah,
yeah,
that
that
was
was
very cute.
I really really love that.
Yeah.
The epilogue I think was really really good. It's just the
Mhm.
ending before that that I was just like, what
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Yeah.
going on?
exactly. Exactly. I
Yeah.
really like the epilogue as well, but the
Mhm.
ending, I like the way it ended. I just don't like the way we got there because it was all at
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
Suddenly, everything started happening at the same time, and I was like, okay, calm down.
I agree.
Yeah, because I was so invested in these characters, I wanted more time with them, you know, especially in the end. I wanted to see like everything unfold more slowly, I guess. But
Mhm. I
mm,
think like one book that does that very very well, that has a lot of different characters and is kind of like similar, is the Literary and Potato Pea Pie Society.
Yeah.
That
mm, okay.
that book does that very very well, I feel like, and this one definitely also tackles like the World War II trauma that we were talking about much more. Um,
Okay.
like, this
Mhm.
book is set after the Second World War, and there's a reason for it. Like, it definitely delves into that. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, like, I just feel like in terms of like the ending and the way that every character was developed and how much time we spent with all of them, I definitely feel like if I compare these two, Potato Pea Pie is definitely um,
Mhm.
like much more well executed, if I want to say.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So
don't think this. Yeah, I don't think the time frame for this book was that relevant. I think it was mainly about the characters, and
mhm,
that was also my favorite part. Honestly, I loved getting to know more about these characters. I think each one of them had a very interesting side to them, and yeah, I love that. And especially the discussions they had about the books and the characters. It was so lovely, and yeah, I love that. So. But I
yeah,
really want to read that book. You keep mentioning it. I really
it's
need to
so
read it.
good.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really good. I really, really
Mhm.
loved it. And it's all told in letters, so it's an interesting
Oh.
format. And you're thinking like, oh, it's all told in letters, so like it's not going to be as much in depth as I would like or whatever, because you don't get different perspectives. But the
Mhm.
way that it's done is just so well executed. Like, anyway, we're not talking about that book, but I really, really love it.
Yeah.
If you like this and you haven't read the Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, I would definitely recommend to read that one. because it's
Okay,
really,
yeah,
really good.
it's on my TBR. It has been on my TBR for ages now.
It's so good. Read it.
I will, I promise. Yeah,
Did you have a favorite quote? Because I have one.
you do.
Yeah.
Would you like to share? I also
Yeah.
have one, I think. But go for it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll share mine.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, it's a long one, so like
it's
bear
fine.
with me. But basically, they're talking. It's like it's at that scene that I like when Dr. Gray and Adeline are talking about the books, and they're talking about the joys of rereading, which I think is very sweet. And they're saying, the narrator says, part of the comfort they derived from rereading was the satisfaction of knowing there would be closure, of feeling each time an inexplicable anxiety over whether the main characters would find love and happiness, while all the while knowing on some different parallel interior track that it was all going to work out in the end, of being both one step ahead of the characters and one step behind Austen on every single reading. And
Yeah, I love that. I also
Good
have
one.
that one.
yes,
Yeah,
so
it's so
good.
beautiful.
And
Yeah.
I think that it applies to rereading like your favorites, but it also applies to every single Jane Austen novel, because you know going into it that you're gonna get a happy ending. But the interesting part and the amazing part is how you get there. And
Yeah.
like it's the way that you know they're going to be happy at the end, but you still feel everything, like all the yearning and the anguish and all of that. And I just felt like these like two sentences describe that perfectly. So that part really made me emotional. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is
Yeah.
our relationship with Jane Austen in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I really
know.
remember that.
I love that
So,
too.
what's
Yeah.
your favorite quotes? What are yours? Do you have any?
Yeah, do you have any, Sophia or Hillary?
I listen to the audiobook. I always do this.
Yeah.
And then I like don't write down the quotes. But I remember there were some that I thought were really cute, but I just can't remember them. Ugh, I'm gonna read the physical
Yeah.
book for our next one. So I have quotes.
It's okay, don't worry. Yeah.
Oh my
I do have one actually.
Yay.
This is in my book. It was page 66.
Okay.
Here it is. On some level, Mimi always enjoyed her infrequent meetings with Monty, as his love of hearing himself talk and his need to put others in their place kept him so fully occupied she could usually just sit back and think about something else.
Oh my God.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
such a good line.
Amazing.
Wow. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Also, it has a little bit of that Jane Austen sass. So
That's
we-
Yeah,
what I picked up
that's
on.
so
Yeah,
true.
I
Mhm.
thought so. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like that's a line that she would like. Jane Austen would maybe chuckle at that. I feel like.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
tell the author is very much inspired by her, and you can tell.
Yeah.
yeah. She does some things very, very well. Like
I
some
think so too.
scenes and some sentences. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. Yeah.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if I enjoyed this book, which Jane Austen do you think I should read? Or do you think like any of them would be good?
Oh,
Oh
I have the
God.
Too
same
hard.
question. Yeah.
well,
Oh my God.
I
Listen.
want to say like the one Mary is like losing her mind. I want to say like I'm gonna be doing a ranking video on my channel like probably this week. So
Oh my
just
God.
Oh my
you know
gosh.
let
I'm excited to watch
stay
that.
tuned for that. But I want to say like every single time somebody is like, which Jane Austen should I read first? I always say Northanger Abbey because it's just the most like it's the in my opinion it's the funniest. And
Yeah,
it
definitely.
definitely has that kind of like ridiculous vibe to it because the main character is very, very naive. She has a wild imagination and it's a lot of fun. Like honestly, that one definitely I feel is the most like easy to get to and also entertaining because like some of them
Yeah,
are obviously more slow
I
paced,
agree.
but that one is wild. It's a lot of fun. So definitely like I want to say Northanger Abbey. Which one?
Yeah, I think Northanger Abbey is a good starting point, but I feel like, well,
Yeah.
I still need to read Emma and Mansfield Park.
Mhm.
But I feel like my favorite story will always be Pride and Prejudice, and I will always recommend it to everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, Emma is also a lot of people's favorites, so I'm not sure how I will feel about that one. But I feel like my favorite story will always be Pride and Prejudice. But I agree that Northanger Abbey is a very good starting point because it is funny. It
Yeah.
is the shortest one, I think.
Yeah,
I
it's
believe it
definitely
is.
one of the shortest. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it is Jane Austen making fun of Gothic novels, so that's amazing.
Yes.
I mean, so yeah, I would say that one probably.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah.
The only thing I want to say is don't start with Mansfield Park. And not because it's bad. I love all of them. Like I love Mansfield Park, but don't start with that one.
Oh my god.
Don't start with that one. It's very because it's first of all, I think the longest one. I'm pretty sure it's the longest one. It's either that one or Emma, but I'm pretty sure Mansfield Park is longer. And it is definitely way more slow paced, and it's a lot. Like there are a lot of characters. It's very intricate. So like if you start with that one, you're gonna be like, this is so boring. I feel like this one you kind of have to like know already like what Jane Austen's sense of humor is like, and then
Yeah.
once you know and you know how she rolls, you enjoy Mansfield Park. But if you
Okay.
don't know like the way that she writes, I don't feel like it's the best one to start with. But yeah, definitely Pride and Prejudice too. It's
Okay.
it's definitely entertaining also because there's so much angst and they hate each other so much and they just don't understand each other. So it's just it's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
but they grow together. It's such an amazing story because they learn a lot from one another. It's
Exactly.
amazing. I
They
love it.
both
Yeah.
were. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
I feel like
agree.
that's the two that I would recommend because then Emma is way bigger too, so that can scare some people off.
Well, it is a lot of people's favorite, so I'm very curious about that one.
Really,
It will
really,
be,
really good.
yeah, it will be the next one that I'm going to read. So
Yes, it's
see what
so good.
happens.
Oh my god. Yeah, I really, really love it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So,
so
is
yeah,
there anything else you'd like to talk about? The book?
have any questions? Do we have any questions in the comments?
The
Nope.
comments? Love that.
I'm always
Yeah.
amazed by how quickly this hour goes. I feel
I
like
know,
I blink
right?
and it's
I
over.
I
Yeah.
know, like it's crazy,
Yeah, it's
I feel like
wild.
it's been like 15 minutes and it's been an hour.
right? It's a good sign, though. It's a good sign.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Should we talk about the book that we're going to read next month, or
Yeah,
what?
that's why I'm asking if you want to talk about anything else before we
Yeah.
announce the next book. I'm not sure. I was just checking my notes in case there's anything else I would like to add, but I think we've talked about all of them. Well, I guess I could ask you,
Yes.
especially Sophia and Hilary, after reading this book, is there any particular Jane Austen novel that you would like to read? Like, let's say, the first one you'd like to start with after reading this book? I don't know.
So I want to start with Emma just because I saw the movie and I was like crying laughing. I thought it was
Oh,
hilarious, but that's
good.
not really like related to this book. But
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I
Well,
want to
we
read
talked
all of
about it.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's like kind of, but not like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
super.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm torn in Pride and but I'm Prejudice, and I just so
Okay.
I don't think we heard what you said.
No, I
No.
thought, yeah, she's torn between Pride and Prejudice and,
Yes, that's what I
Something.
heard.
Emma.
yeah, and Emma. Okay.
And
Yeah.
Emma. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I haven't read Emma, so I cannot help you there, but yeah.
I definitely think they're both amazing. If you want like a main protagonist, ooh,
Yeah. This is interesting. I hope you enjoyed the book.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I hope you did. If you
That's
didn't,
nice.
oh my god. But yeah, I want to say if you want like a very, very relatable protagonist, I want to say maybe Pride and Prejudice, because Emma, I know is not everybody's cup of tea. I know that a lot of people don't really like her because she's like very over herself and everything. I personally loved her. I thought she was hilarious. But I know a lot of people really, really love Elizabeth, and which I totally agree. She's amazing. She's like one of the best female characters of literature ever. She's great.
Ooh, that's a big statement.
I
I
mean,
know.
Nice. Okay.
I feel like she's so great. So yeah, would definitely, but they're all good. That's the problem. Like you don't know
Yeah,
where
I
to
agree.
They're all amazing. You
Yeah,
just want
I
to read
agree.
them all.
Read them all. Yeah, that's my advice to you. Read them all. Just lose yourself. Yeah.
Just like go somewhere where you can be quiet and just read all of them in one go.
Yeah, because I feel like they are such comforting books, and I feel like that's something that I really liked about this book, because it showed that feeling very well. Like the way these characters feel about Jane Austen, that's exactly how I feel about her too. So I guess that was also one of my favorite things.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to talk about anything else about the book, or shall we announce the next one?
I think we're good, right?
Yeah, I
I mean,
think so
I
too.
think so.
Hillary, I think you're glitching too, so I don't know what you think.
No.
Oh my god, I feel sorry for you.
It's a tragedy, obviously.
It's okay. Last time that was me. My Wi-Fi was terrible. So yeah, I get the struggle.
It happened to all of us at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's just announce the next one then. I think
Yes,
you can do that.
Yes,
It is also in the description of the live stream, so feel free to check it after the live show. But Sarah, would you like to announce it, since it will be on your channel?
Sure. Okay, so for the month of September, we are going to be reading The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. So it's kind of like this fantasy kind of magical realism story. I'm not sure if it's like fantasy or magical realism, but we follow this guy who is kind of like a social worker for magical children, and he is sent on an assignment. He has to go to this very weird house, and there he kind of falls head over heels for all of the magical children living there, as well as their caretaker. And apparently there's a very, very cute romance, and all of the characters are sweet. And we're just very excited because it sounds like so magical and whimsical and weird.
Yeah,
and
it
just
does.
super sweet. So
Yay! I'm very excited to read it. Yeah.
I've heard things from so many different people. Like everybody who reads it loves it, I feel like. So
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's gonna be very, very fun.
Yes.
So excited.
Yeah. I think I should mention, we still don't have like an official date for the live show, but
right.
as soon as we know it, we will update everything on Instagram and Twitter. So make sure you follow us there. I will leave all the links in the description, as well as all of these wonderful people's channels, because you should subscribe to all of them. And yeah, I think that's it for this live show. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Or
I would like to say thank you so much for 100 followers on both Instagram and Twitter.
True.
Yes.
Really excited about that. So thank you to all of you, if there are still people watching, I hope.
That's amazing.
Thank you to all of you. It's very, very nice. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we were very happy. Thank you all so much for joining us, for all your support. We really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Yay!
And also keep your eyes open, because we have very exciting stuff coming.
True. Yeah, that's what I was going to say next. Like, this Tuesday, is it? Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, I think it's Tuesday.
We have a very special announcement coming up, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think that's it for this live show. Thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you, wonderful ladies, for joining me on my channel. So yeah, we're gonna end it here. I hope you all have a lovely day or night whenever you're watching this. And yeah, thank you all so much, and we will see you next time. Bye.
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 Bye.